If you've been watching our channel for a while, you know that we've covered a ton of topics around living in Greenville, but have yet to cover a video on the cost of living here in Greenville. So in this video, we're going to cover what you can expect if you're planning to move to Greenville and the costs associated with that. And be sure to stick around until the end so that you don't have sticker shock when you finally make the move to our area. Let's do it. As always, my name is Will Sawyer, your friend in real estate here in the Greenville, South Carolina market. And it's our goal with this channel that we are your #1 resource for all the things that you need to know about making your move to Greenville, South Carolina. If you like this content, please like the video, subscribe to our channel. We would love to have you follow along as we cover more topics about our wonderful city. And if you're new to the channel, Greenville, South Carolina is a city of about 70,000 people in the northwestern corner of South Carolina. Our general area has about 1 million people in it, and Greenville County itself has about 500,000 people in it. So we're on the southern slope of the Appalachian Mountains, 1.5 hours to Charlotte and about 2 hours to Atlanta. Just for your information, for the purposes of this video, we're going to use a few different sources, most notably bestplaces.net, the South Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles, South Carolina Department of Revenue, and AAA. So overall, living in Greenville has a rating of 91.3 when compared to a national average of 100. So that means it's about 8% less expensive to live here in Greenville compared to most other parts of the country, which is a good thing. What bestplaces.net uses and looks at would be things like transportation, housing, food, childcare, taxes, healthcare, and so on. So in all 7 major categories, Greenville only exceeded the national average in one category, and that is the cost of homes. So as of this recording in 2023, the median sale price for homes here in Greenville this year is $435,000. That's compared to a national average of about $413,000. Home prices in Greenville are up about 17% year over year, whereas over the span of the entire country, home prices are only up about 3.4%. Houses here in Greenville on average sit on the market for about 40 to 50 days, and most homes receive 1 to 2 offers before going under contract and getting sold. However, in addition to home prices, other housing costs are surprisingly cheap here in Greenville. First being HOA fees. So most homes here in our area are going to be in a community. Now, you might have properties that are older that were built in the 40s to the 80s that can be in communities, but they don't have an HOA associated with them. Now, your properties that have been built in the last, say, 20 to 30 years, those are typically going to be in neighborhoods, and there's going to be some type of homeowners association or property owner association associated with owning a piece of real estate in that community. However, HOA fees are pretty inexpensive here, especially compared to places like Charleston or Myrtle Beach or Florida. On average, HOA fees will range $300 to maybe a couple $1,000, and you're really only going to find HOA annual expenses being over, say, $1,000 in your luxury price points, over $900,000 to a couple million. However, for that kind of median priced category of $300 to say $500,000, typical HOA fees per year are going to come in anywhere from $350 to $500. And once you start getting over $300, that's when you're going to start seeing, amenities in neighborhoods like pools and playgrounds and sidewalks, maybe some walking trails around the community and some green spaces. Anything below $300, you're really not going to find too many amenities. So something to think about. So in addition to less expensive HOA fees, many of my clients are surprised to find out how cheap property taxes are here. So in South Carolina, there's 2 tax rates, 4% and 6%. It's not 4% of the property's value or 6% of the property's value. It's more than that. For simplicity's sake, just take the purchase price and times it by 0.57%. That'll give you a good understanding of what your owner-occupied 4% tax rate would be. And then if you're going to be an investor, or if this is going to be a second home for you, you're going to be paying that 6% property tax rate, which doesn't sound like that much more, but it's actually 50% more. So you're going to be paying 2, maybe even 3 times what you would pay for a second home or an investment property versus what you would pay if you were actually living in that house for annual property taxes. In addition to less expensive HOA fees and property taxes, many of my clients are also pleased to find out how inexpensive home insurance is here. So many of my folks from Florida are used to paying thousands of dollars in home insurance every year. Well, here in the upstate of South Carolina, you'll only pay several $100s a year, up to maybe $1,000 a year. So I asked my insurance agent what he found to be an average annual home insurance policy premium, and he said it was about $900 to $950. Me personally, for my properties, I pay $900 a year. For your newer homes that aren't as, say, risky for an insurance company to insure on, might be a little bit less than $900. And then, of course, the larger homes, more luxury price points, might be a little bit over $1,000 per year. And last thing I'll mention here are utility costs. So utility costs on average, power is going to be $150, $200 a month, depending on the month during the year. Water and sewer is going to range from $50 to $75 a month. If you have gas at your house, that'll be $75 to $100 a month. If you're not in the city or right outside the city limits, in your respective town around Greenville or in Greenville itself, you'll have to pay for trash pickup if you don't want to haul your trash off to the dump. So trash pickup here in our area is about $30, $35 per month as well. So all in all, relative to home prices being a little bit higher, housing in general is less expensive here in Greenville compared to other parts of the country for many of the reasons that I just listed for us. So now let's talk about other costs that you're gonna experience every day. So like gas and transportation. So according to Better Places, Greenville has an index of 76.2 in this category. And again, remember the national average is 100. So it's almost 25 points less in Greenville than it is on the national average. So gas prices here in Greenville are about 30 cents cheaper than the national average. So at the time that we're recording this, average price of a gallon of gas here in Greenville is about $2.91, when the national average is about $3.21. For my folks in California, they are astonished at how cheap gas is here, and it's awesome. That doesn't include registration or renewal fees every year. So fortunately for South Carolina drivers, you do not have to get your vehicle inspected every year. However, you do, of course, have to re-register your tag, and you have to pay personal property taxes on your vehicles. So I just paid my property taxes on my 2021 F-150 Ford truck, and it was over $600. If you have a newer vehicle that has a higher value, you will be paying several $100s a year in personal property taxes for that vehicle. And then when you move to South Carolina, you'll also have to pay a registration fee, which isn't too much money, but certainly worth noting in the video. And then one more thing to note, in addition to your vehicles, you are gonna have to pay personal property taxes on every piece of personal property that you have, whether it be an RV, a camper, a boat, a motorcycle, the list goes on and on. So definitely something to consider when thinking about relocating to Greenville. So groceries comes in at 99.7, so we're right on par with the national average for grocery costs here. And we have all grocery chains that you can think of: Publix, Lidl, Aldi, Whole Foods, Fresh Market, Trader Joe's, Costco, Sam's. The list goes on and on and on. We also have some really good restaurants here that I've talked about in previous videos, so be sure to check that out. But those include Otto Izakaya, a great sushi restaurant; Home Team Barbecue, a great barbecue place. We also have Bricktops, which is a new restaurant that just opened in downtown Greenville on Main Street. So definitely check that out when you're here on your visit. And then we have healthcare, which comes in at 97.5. So our average healthcare costs here in Greenville are slightly less when comparing them to the rest of the country. And that packs a lot of value for a resident here in Greenville, because Greenville has some of the best health care in the entire state of South Carolina and in the Southeast. So South Carolina's largest and most comprehensive healthcare provider, Prisma Health, is headquartered right here in Greenville and has a huge presence with a multitude of different specialties and doctor's offices here in the Upstate. There's also Bon Secours, which is another large and prominent healthcare system here in the Upstate. We also have ANMAD as well, and several emergency centers scattered about the Upstate. For the last topic of the video, we'll talk about taxes. And again, I'm not a CPA, so do your own research, and we can provide the links that we looked at and referenced for the video if you would like. So a few different things on this topic. The individual tax rate in South Carolina is graduated depending on your income level. It starts at 0% and goes all the way up to 6.5%. If you're in your retirement years and you're taking retirement distributions, you can deduct up to $15,000 per person in retirement distributions. Another thing to note is that Social Security income in South Carolina is not taxed. So if you are of retirement years, that's a great benefit for you as well. And the last thing I'll mention is in South Carolina, we do acknowledge the homestead exemption. So if you're over the age of 65 and you've lived in your residence for at least a year, you can apply for the homestead exemption, and that will potentially save you over $1,000 a year in your tax bill. So in another video I mentioned, I just had a client go under contract and purchase a property for about $450,000. That particular client, the person that was selling my clients the house, was taking advantage of the homestead exemption, and instead of paying over $2,000 in taxes every year, that individual was only paying about $450 for their property taxes. So there it is. That covers the cost of living here in Greenville. And I hope that comprehensive list was good enough for you. If there's something that you think we missed, please comment in the comments. I'll be happy to cover your topic in the comments, and we'll also more than likely do a future video on this topic very soon as well. As always, my name is Will Sawyer, your friend in real estate here in Greenville, South Carolina. And if you are actually thinking about moving to Greenville, please reach out to me directly at my cell phone number below or my email below. I would love to chat with you directly about what a move to our wonderful city looks like for you and possibly your family. But until then, follow along in future videos. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks so much. So if you've been doing your research about Greenville, South Carolina, suburbs that are super popular today, on the Swamp Rabbit Trail, or an extension of the Swamp Rabbit Trail that's been built, is we have a lot of cottage style or maintenance-free living communities. Now, relative to other parts of the Southeast, Greenville still has a pretty low cost of living.